update. She referenced Job. Now, the story of Job the from the Bible. I do know this story, but I decided that, hey, to be a little bit more professional, I wanted to go online and just get a summary for to help those of you who may not know of who he was. Okay, so I have it here on my screen, and you can take your time and read it. I will scroll down for you, but I'm just going to give you a brief review. Okay, so Job was a wealthy man who had been attacked by Satan. And the interesting thing about the Satan's attack on him is that Satan had to ask the Lord's permission prior to doing so. And the Bible says that, that the Lord ran into Satan and asked him, hey, where are you coming from? And he said, to and from, looking for whom I may devour. And so the Lord offered him Job. He asked him, have you considered my son Job? And Satan responded by telling him, he has everything that he could ever want. What makes you think that he'll ever turn your back on him? And so the Lord gave him permission. Hey, you can take everything that he has. Excuse me. You can take everything he has, but spare him his life. And it talks about how Satan went in and, through a storm, he took all of his children. He had like 7 children. He took all of his oxen. He took all of his cattle. He took everything. And he even got to the point that he attacked Job's health. And it talks about how, for this went on for several years. And at some point, Job's wife, said, where is your God? Who is this God that you're serving? You might as well curse him and die. Well, she never told him to curse him, but in our current day's terms, this is what we'll say: you curse him and die. So anyway, Job refused to curse his God. He continued to believe in his God, and as a result, he got everything back like 100-fold. Okay. Well, why am I referencing this? Is because Teresa compared herself recently to the story of Job, and it's very possible. We go through trials in this life. You never know. You never know until you're actually going through it. It's so easy for us to judge, and that's why the word tells us, "Judge not, for you shall be judged." Okay. Now, the points that I'm going to touch on today, I've been saving information, and I feel like it's time for me to erase this because it has nothing to do with me. People have been, Nick, look at that dog. People have been fighting for justice. Nick, look at that dog. Capiz. Look at that dog. People have been fighting for justice for this, for Kaneeka. And unfortunately, there's so much corruption there in Chicago and in its suburbs until it doesn't appear that justice will ever be served. It appears that, they're in this vigilante type stage. Like, everything is handled streetwise because the law is not on your side. So anyway, with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and get to my point. So I was going through Teresa's Facebook, and as I was going through it, I took my time today, and I actually just went through and just read some of the posts, and I want to tell you that there are a couple of things that really bother me. Okay, God have mercy on the people that do not know how it feels to lose a child in the mighty name of Jesus. And I agree because, I only have one child. And every time my son leaves the house, I have to say, Lord, protect him. Please cover him in the mighty name of Jesus, because if something happened to mine, I'm going after whoever. I don't care. You can take me out. Something happened to my child, you gonna know about it if you live to suffer. Anyway, good morning, world. Thank God for God being the glory. But I don't have time to to go through each and every post. I just want you to see what I've been in the act of doing today. But what I'd like you to do is I want you guys to go back and look at those posts before Kaneeka died. What kind of posts was she posting before Kaneeka died? Were her posts about God? Were they about Jesus? Were they about, giving God the glory? Were they... What kind of posts was she posting? Okay? That's going to be your homework for today. Okay? So, as I get out of this, there's something very interesting that I found. And I have to go to my gallery for this. Okay. I am going to go... shoot. I am going to go... Shoot. I got y'all all in my business, right? I'm gonna go. As you can see, I want you to see this. This young grails. Young grails. I'm looking for. Excuse me. Okay, so here we are with young grails. Now, I'm really tripping about this message, and I'll tell you why. I couldn't remember his name on yesterday, but as I sat back and I thought about the case, I honestly believe that this is what happened. And I will explain to you. I'm not going to go into any videos. I'm only using the information that I have here on my tablet. If I don't have it on my tablet, I'm sorry, I won't reference it. I will give you a cross-reference for you to go back and check it out on your own, but I will not. There's just too much, going back and forth about who's using whose videos, who's picking up on whose information, and, honestly, Straight Drop says, I got time. Well, unfortunately, I don't have time. So let me address young girls, okay? So, unfortunately, I did not get the date here. Didn't realize how important it would be. But, I did not get the date. But, let's see. I thought that maybe my phone would capture it, and it didn't. Anyway. Shortly after the murder, and I will say murder because I honestly believe she was murdered, he made a post that says, we didn't mean to kill her. She had a heart attack while we was raping her. I'll let y'all know why we put her in the freezer later. Now, I don't know if this is a post or if this is something that he gave to someone. I just saw it of something important and screenshot it and saved it, okay? But let me explain to you why I think that this is the closest to the truth that we will get. If you go back to the initial Irene video, the one with her with the glasses, and you listen carefully, I swear to you, I've been listening to this for the past month or so. If you listen carefully, you can hear Kaneeka in the background. Now, let's talk a little bit about Kaneeka when she's talking to, because it seemed like everybody was messing with her. And I honestly believe that the reason they were messing with her is just to see how far gone she was. Monifa was telling her, hey, Kaneeka, come here for a sec. And Kaneeka told her, no, I ain't even trying to play with you like that, or I ain't trying to fool with you like that, because you're drunk. And if you remember, Monifa starts laughing. And then she says, no, just come here for a second, or something along those lines, okay? The reason I say this is because if you watched enough of the Kaneeka videos, you know that Kaneeka was a fast talker. Like, she spoke really quickly. Well, In that particular video, she appeared to be slurred. And what happens when, you become drugged, or when you become alcoholically inclined, or when you become drunk? I try not to use that word, but when you become drunk, is that, yes, your speech begins to slur. Things begin to move slowly. Now, fortunately, I'm not a drinker, but I have paid close attention to it, because I'm like, one of my attitudes is, hey, if I were to get drunk, how would I protect myself if something were to go down? How would I protect myself? I watch closely to see what other people's reactions are, so that I'll know what my reactions might be. And that's why, I can securely say that your speech becomes slurred. You begin to move slower than normal. Your reactions are slower. Okay, and that definitely appeared to be what was happening with Kaneeka. So let's go on to further in the video, just before the music. Now, there's been a lot of controversy back and forth about this music, saying that the people that were unfamiliar with the song, there's it's a screechy voice or what have you, and that may be so. But I've listened to it time and time and time and time and time and time again. Unbiasedly, I've turned off everything in the background, and have just listened to it over and over and over again. I can remember a couple of nights I actually just went to sleep with it playing in my ear. And what you do here, if you listen carefully, just before the music, you can hear Kaneeka, "Capiz, por favor." Just before the music, you can hear Kaneeka talking to two men. And the voices of those men, guys, I mean, if you're like anything like me, you're very familiar with, the voice of an older person has a little bit more maturity, and the voice of a younger person, it just sounds a little bit squeakier, right? Well, these were older men. There were two older men there with her, okay? And Irene is there on the screen, and you can hear Kaneeka saying, "I'm not drunk. I'm not drunk. I am," no, something. "I am having fun. I'm not drunk," or something. And I honestly felt like she was trying to convince herself that she was not drunk. Okay. However, if you continue to listen, you can hear her say, "Leave me alone, yo." Now, I thought she was saying someone's name until I read someone else's comment who clarified that she wasn't saying Joe, she's saying yo. "Leave me alone, yo." And then she calls for Irene. Now, a lot of people say that they heard her say, "Help me." I never heard never heard her say, "Help me." But what I did hear her say is, "Call for Irene." Immediately after she calls for Irene, the music comes on. It plays for a couple of seconds, maybe 3 or 4 seconds, and then Irene cuts it off again. And then you see Irene, if you pay close attention, you see her look over her shoulder. And then she says, "What the F?" And then she turns that music on again. Okay? And I honestly believe that at this point, this is what was happening. At this point, she was being raped. And maybe she tried to fight back. Maybe she was trying to save herself. Who knows what happened? I think that I don't think that she died. I think what happened was she may have passed out, right? Because if she was on this pill, on this medication, and nobody knows how this medication really is going to affect her, and she's drinking an energy drink, because remember in the police report it said she picked up an energy drink, and she also picked up a bottle of Hennessy. There's something I want to tell you about that too, but I say she was drinking that freaking energy drink, and I say that someone slipped that pill into the energy drink, and that's why she didn't realize it. That's why she didn't know. Okay? If someone slips something into a glass, if you're in your right mind, you're going to notice it. But if they slip it into your drink, and your energy drink, it's in a dark can, you're not going to really notice it. And maybe you'll notice it, but after you've already taken the first couple of swallows, right? So just something to think about. Again, this is my opinion. I could be wrong. I was not there. But it's just my opinion. So let's go on to over to the all of the police reports. And the police reports say everybody's sticking to the story. Everybody's saying that Kaneeka was drinking Hennessy from the bottle. I'll tell you why I have a hard time believing that Kaneeka was drinking Hennessy from the bottle. Because she was spending too much time telling everybody else about how drunk they were. And she honestly did not appear to want to be there. If you look in the bathroom video, she was talking about how irritating they were. Monifa is trying to play with her, trying to do whatever, and she's just like, hey, yo, I don't want to play with you like that. Like, at 2:17, she sends a message saying, hey, I'm ready to go. A drunk person, if you're having fun, you're getting drunk. I don't know. I've never been drunk before, right? But I don't know. I just don't feel like you'd be ready to go so soon. Because you're having so much fun, you out with your boys, your girls, y'all doing your thing. So I don't know. So I have a very difficult time believing that Kaneeka was drinking from the bottle. But then what drives me is that one other person, in which if you read her statement, this person says Kaneeka was drinking from a cup. So which one is it? Now it's one person versus everyone else. But the reason I say that one person has more credibility with me than everyone else is because if everyone is trying to lie to cover up what really happened, then of course they're going to stick to this story. They're going to make the stories as close as possible. But that one person could honestly be trying to tell us something. Hey, that's not what happened. Right? So for me, that's something else to pay attention to. Okay? And the other thing, as far as Kaneeka's drunkenness, the final thing that bothers me is that they say that she was drinking from the bottle and that she was dancing and she was screaming at Irene and telling Irene to get up and dance. But if you notice in all the videos that we've seen from the party that night, Kaneeka just seems to be relaxed. She's never screaming at anybody. She's just cool, calm, and relaxed. But that one video in which everybody is saying that Kaneeka was not standing there in the door, but she was sitting in the chair, I swear to you, there might be some truth to it. Anyway, that's just my thoughts on it. So, as I'm talking about this young girls, you see what he says here. Well, a few months ago, I was going through, and unfortunately, I don't know why I did not screenshot. I was going through everything that I have here. I don't know why I did not screenshot him. But Young Grails, on his official page, he's now erased it. He no longer has the Facebook page. But on his page, he made the statement, hey, everybody's talking about, and it's the guy with the red jacket. Everybody's talking about I was the dude with the red jacket that night on the bed with Kaneeka. Yes, I was there, but I was not talking to Kaneeka. I was talking to my boy. I was ready to go. My boy wasn't. He was trying to put a hold on him. I'm making him put it in my own words because I don't remember word for word, right? So it's not verbatim. But he's basically saying, I was ready to go. My boy was putting a hole in my plans. He didn't want to go, and I was telling him to stop tripping. But they were not talking to each other. He and his boy were there. And he and his boy were talking, but they weren't talking to each other. They were talking to Kaneeka. They were telling her that she was tripping because she didn't want to give up the Lulu. Okay? And, unfortunately, like I said, I didn't screenshot it. I thought that I had. And it's possible that I had and then erased it, but whatever the case, so be it. Anyway, as far as that's concerned, this is as far as I'm going to go in this recording. Just wanted to give you a couple of things to think about. My point, I'm sorry. My bottom line is Kaneeka was murdered, and the murderers have been in our faces all along. Okay. One other thing that I want to point out to you is this. Take a look at this. This is Kaneeka. This is her in the freezer, right? So if you notice, there in the door for the A, there's a pink lip gloss. Okay. B is her shoe. Then we have, I don't know if that's E or C. Looks like it might be C. C is a gold lip gloss, right? Yeah, C is a gold lip gloss or yellowish looking lip gloss. D. D is the black headband, right? Just follow me out. D is the black headband, right? Okay. Now, I'm sorry to have her on the camera, but I needed to share this. Okay. So we have the black lip gloss, the 2 lip glosses, the black headband, and then don't forget the 21 cent. The 21 cent, I don't know why I didn't get the picture of it, but I didn't get the picture of it. Okay. So, let's go back to Mama T's Mama T's profile, and I decided to go back and look for the picture that she posted of everything that was given back to her. And there are 2 things that I'm going to point out about that. Okay. Give me just a second to get back to it. Didn't realize that I had closed it out. Okay, so here we are. What do you see in the bag? The things that came off of Kaneeka's body. Now, mind you, before I say this, if the police say that this was... Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Okay. If the police say that this was not foul play, it was an accident, Kaneeka got drunk, overdrunk, she got hot, she went downstairs, she walked into the freezer, why didn't they give all of her belongings back to Mama T? The only belongings that they gave Mama T, now supposedly everything in the freezer belonged to Kaneeka. They didn't do an official investigation because remember, they didn't even do fingerprints. So with that being said, Kaneeka appeared to be a person that had it together. She knew how she wanted to look, and I'm tripping about the 2 lip excuse me, the 2 lip glosses, the 2 completely different colored lip glosses, which for me indicates that there were 2 women in that freezer. But anyway, hey. Anyway, so looking at this bag, and what do we see? We see the watch, and there's some speculation about the watch, saying that because of the lighting. I don't think that the lighting would do that much of a change in the color of the band, but some people say yes. Then you have the headband, the pink headband that she had around her wrist, which I find it interesting as well, because if she had the pink one, why did she need the black one? But and maybe I'm a little too far-fetched. And then she has the belly button ring. Only those things. But what happened to the lip glosses? What happened to the 21 cent? And what happened to the black headband that could also be tested for DNA? Why didn't they give those things to Mama T? Why were those things not in the bag? Right? Well, on top of that, now I'm saying, you heard me say, oh, wow. And the reason I'm saying, oh, wow, is because in a picture that I saw before, it said that the funeral home had released this bag to Mama T. On the bag, it had Evans Funeral Home. Now, I don't live in Chicago. I'm not even in the United States, for crying out loud. How would I know the name of the funeral home that had her, that dealt with her body? But on the bag that I saw, it said Evans Funeral Home. Okay, so now I'm tripping because there is a video in which they show the coroner, well, not the coroner, but the medical examiners releasing the bag to Mama T. So, was the funeral home present when the bag was being released? Like, I'm a little bit confused about that. Right? So, I'm saying all this to say, people, that there are a lot of alterations being made. A lot of alterations being made by family members. A lot of alterations being made by police. A lot of alterations being made by YouTubers. And what we have to do, if you really want the truth, go back to the beginning of the story. I say that the killers have been in our face all along. I believe that it was young Grails, whoever he is. I don't know his real name. But the two guys that were on the bed talking to Kaneeka, I believe that they are the killers. I believe that this happened in front of Monifa and Irene. And I believe that this is why they're freaking out. And they keep saying over and over again, they told us, you don't know what's happening here. All of y'all out of towners are responding and saying what you think. And nobody knows what's going on here. And for me, it just makes me believe those two girls were present when this took place. Those two girls helped those two guys move Kaneeka's body into that freezer. I'm almost 100% positive. It was a mistake. It wasn't meant to kill her, but it was meant to rape her. I'm almost sure of it. And the reason I say that I'm almost sure of it, because in the same Irene video, if you watch Monifa, she tells Irene, let me see who you're talking to. Irene tells her it doesn't matter. And Monifa puts her face into the camera, and then she briefly exclaims, shoot, I got my face all in the camera and stuff. And Irene makes a smart comment and asked her, did you have any influence on this? Any of this? On any of what? And why didn't Monifa want to be seen on camera? Because they knew what time it was. So with that being said, this concludes my final observation and theory about what's taking place. Please feel free to leave your comments in the box below. And hey, I love challenges. Gray Hughes, if you want to go into this debunking theory, don't play it with me, because I know who you are. Okay? Thank you, and have a pleasant evening.